Welcome to the 2023 AIA Pennsylvania Architectural Excellence Awards broadcast. As the Executive Director of the American Institute of Architects Pennsylvania chapter, I have the unique honor of introducing this year's broadcast, which for the first time also includes the voices and faces of a few members of our Committee on Design who are responsible for steering several of our awards and honors programs. These programs celebrate the work of firms and individuals across Pennsylvania for excellence in design, contributions to the profession, and commitment to the quality of the built environment. A special thank you to the members that participated in this year's programs, showcasing the range and caliber of Pennsylvania architects' work. I am continuously inspired by the work of our members, works of architecture that foster opportunity, connection, and well-being in our communities, institutions, businesses, and families. I would also like to thank the Committee on Design, nominating task forces, and program jurors for their time, expertise, and commitment to honoring this work and the individuals and teams making a difference for the profession. This celebration of architectural excellence would not be possible without the generous support of our sponsors and partners. Please join me in thanking them for their support of the chapter and profession. Our supporting friends of AIA Pennsylvania. We are grateful to our viewing party sponsor for their support of our local celebrations. Thank you to excellent sponsor Garaventa Lift. Special thanks to our program sponsors Bear, Langen, Sheets, and Yale Electric Supply. And a very special thanks to our 5 partners for their sustaining support of the chapter. With an extensive knowledge of the built environment, Fenner & Essler provides insurance and risk management consultations for architects and engineers. As an independent agency, they are able to offer design professionals the industry's most competitive rates. If you are revisiting your professional liability insurance, contact our friend Tim for a quote. Oldcastle Architectural Products Group is a leading manufacturer of concrete building and hardscape products, including masonry that covers a wide spectrum of applications. Their brands have set the standard for design, technical acumen, and thought leadership, helping architects craft their vision from concept to installation. And a final round of thanks to our network of legal partners from across the state for their counsel to the chapter, local chapters, and providing peace of mind and more time for design to members. In the center of the state, Tony Potter with Offord Kerman. Out in the east, Rich Davies with Milber Macris, and out west, Mike Cremonese with Burke Cromer Cremonese. From professional licensure and contract negotiation to risk management, claims, and litigation, Offord Kerman's lawyers help architectural and engineering firms solve legal, practice, and business challenges in an efficient and cost-effective manner. Milber Macris specializes in architecture, engineering, construction delays, cost estimating, accessibility, risk avoidance, and early resolution of claims. Their ability to manage and control the relationship between design and construction during investigation and litigation really sets their practice apart. Burke Cromer Cremonese represents architects and other design professionals with expertise in a wide range of issues, including entity formation, ownership transitions, various aspects of business and employment law, contract negotiation, and legal risk management. First up, the reveal of this year's special awards, followed by the student awards, Epic Firms, COTE or Committee on the Environment Awards, and finally, the Design Awards with a few documentary short features to break things up.
As a member of the AIA Pennsylvania Board Committee on Design and this year's Special Awards Nomination Task Force, I'm honored to be joining you to recognize the 2023 Architectural Excellence Special Awards recipients. These awards celebrate significant achievements by architecture and allied industry professionals, civic and government leaders, firms, and organizations who contribute to the built environment and the advancement of the profession in Pennsylvania. The Special Awards is brought to you by longtime sponsor Langen. Langen provides engineering and environmental services in support of land development projects, corporate real estate portfolios, and the energy industry. The AIA Pennsylvania membership at large is given the opportunity to nominate individuals or firms for these honors, while the Special Awards Nomination Task Force is responsible for both nominating and deliberating on nominees in 6 of the program's 9 categories to recommend a slate of recipients to the board for approval. Special Awards Nomination Task Force Chair Nancy Rogo-Traynor worked with last year's chair, Christine Mondor, and myself as the liaison for the Committee on Design to convene 8 additional task force members from across our state. Special thanks to Nancy and Christine, Roger Williams, Joe Biondo, Antonio Filo Silva, Rob Fleming, Dario McPhee, Emily Pearson Brown, Soha St. Just, and Gary Weaver for their enthusiasm and dedication to recognizing those contributing to better our profession and built environment. Kicking off the special awards with the Medal of Distinction, the highest award bestowed by AIA Pennsylvania upon a member, recognizing contributions to architecture that transcend local boundaries and have been of benefit to the profession and citizens of Pennsylvania.
I can cite one principle that I think is absolutely central to everything I believe, whether it's planning or architecture, and that is the purpose of all this is to make people's lives better. Design has the capacity to enrich lives. You know, you could treat the design of place as a commodity. I need a classroom, so you make a classroom. Or I need a park, and so you make a park. But where design becomes interesting is when those commodities become assets. I mean, think of all the places you've been that you think, oh, that was such a great place. I would go back there in a second. I have to say that probably architecture came first. I was interested in being an architect probably from about age 14, I think. Became fascinated with buildings. I grew up in New York City. The built world is everywhere. I used to stare at pictures of the United Nations. I was just fascinated by the 3 buildings and the composition of it. I was also fascinated by the United Nations as an institution. So the built world was all around me. And I think that the interest in architecture, as opposed to planning, probably came about because architecture being an architect was a known profession. So planning was a little more esoteric. But I would also tell you that growing up in New York City makes an interest in cities and an interest in planning somewhat urgent. But the other person in my life who was very meaningful was Airman Mitchell. We refer to him as Mitch. Mitch's influence was about the profession. Mitch was a national president of AIA. He was committed to the profession as a thing, as a profession. And I think he really infused me with this sense of both an obligation to the bigger community of professionals and trying to make the world better beyond what you're doing right then and there.
Alan's commitment to civic engagement is very powerful, I think in part shaped by his time in the Nutter administration, which I think had a profound impact on him in terms of taking his sort of professional experience and applying it to much bigger challenges and problems.
I asked Alan to come to be a part of our administration because I valued planning. Philadelphia, of course, is a city of great architecture. He's an architect, and so knowing his planning background, the architecture experience, the opportunity for us to help change some of the landscape of the city of Philadelphia, I wanted and needed a visionary, someone I knew, someone I trusted, I trust his judgment. And when you look at North Broad Street, many of the revitalized projects on North Broad Street came as a result of Alan's work.
The thing that an architect could bring to this role was this ability to see the physical city and understand the relationship between what we were trying to do from an economic development perspective and how it landed on the ground. Now, some of that was very physical. A lot of these projects, a lot of these businesses that we worked with were also building something. And 2, you're making the city more attractive. And this is one of those situations where more is more. And more is critical to cities to survive economically. You know, we came through decades of hostility about cities and cities in bad shape and downtowns that are run down. And Philadelphia not only survived that era, it actually wound up thriving in a certain way through it.
He restored the honor and trust and the great legacy of the Philadelphia Planning Commission, which had been known in the past across the country and around the world as one of the great planning organizations. And it was through his leadership, that quiet, calm, get things done leadership that Alan brought. I think people will see the value of his work for decades to come.
I think Alan's legacy in terms of his leadership of the department really was in adding the urbanism dimension. Before he came, that wasn't sort of a part of its mission, but during his time there, and certainly now, the focus on urbanism, elegant urbanism that encompassed not only our campus but our entire community, really became a significant part of the mission of the department.
A lot of those things people may never associate with me. They probably don't even know, which is okay, actually. I'm not in this for hero worship. I'm in this to make the place I live, the place I work, a better place so that current generations, but certainly future generations, feel like this is a better place and they feel like they can take more pride in it than they did before we got done doing whatever we were doing.
We don't consider our campus merely the boundaries of Drexel, but our campus is West Philadelphia. And Alan's work to make sure that at the really important sort of intersections between campus and community, there's sort of good design, there's humanism on both sides. I think what Alan wants is to make sure that our campus sends a broad invitation to take part in what we do here, and in part that is done by good design, everyone feeling welcomed and invited.
Ultimately, what I'd like to leave is a sense that the university, the city as a whole, got better as a result of the things that we were able to do. It's about getting things done and making an impact, a positive impact on people's lives. And then you can walk away and say, all right, this was a good career.
Congratulations, Alan. The Impact Designer Award recognizes a wide range of design disciplines held together by a common goal to design and create a better world through innovative, scalable, and measurable solutions. As an associate at Rothschild Doigneau Collaborative, Robert Tuñón is committed to community-serving architectural work, like the artist-focused Oringer Building, a project which was recognized with an AIA National Excellence in Affordable Housing Award. In support of other minority architects, Robert co-founded MAPS, the Minority Architects of Pittsburgh Scholarship, which has raised and distributed over $10,000 to more than 20 awardees in its first 2 years. In service to the community he lives, Robert co-founded the Etna Community Organization, a nonprofit dedicated to sustainable redevelopment of the former mill town. As a volunteer, he and his neighbors formed the Etna Eco District, which was later recognized as the world's first certified eco district. Congratulations, Robert. The AIA Pennsylvania Government Affairs Committee, chaired by Ken Doigneau, put forth this year's Government Award recipient to the AIA Pennsylvania Board for final approval. The Government Award celebrates an individual or group working in state or local government that has made significant contributions to the profession, business of architecture, or the built environment in Pennsylvania. Senator Dave Argall represents the 29th District, including Schuylkill and Carbon counties, as well as parts of Luzerne County, including Hazleton. As a member of the Senate's Majority Leadership Team, Senator Argall's top legislative priority is revitalizing our downtowns and older industrial neighborhoods. He's led successful battles to pass several new anti-blight laws. Because of his grassroots teamwork, left-behind communities across Pennsylvania, from his hometown of Tamaqua to parts of our largest cities, have witnessed a positive transformation. Congratulations, Senator Argall. The Contributions to the Profession by a Non-Architect Award honors individuals, corporations, associations, or other groups who do not practice architecture. Recipients are celebrated for their contributions to the profession, applied research, or other disciplines that enhance the practice of architecture. Brittany Reno is currently serving as Sharpsburg's mayor, the first woman and youngest person to hold the office. An ally of the architecture profession, she has consistently demonstrated the civic leadership needed to advance vibrant and sustainable communities. Brittany uses design as a platform to have important conversations about neighborhood futures and social capital to achieve community goals. She believes that when people get involved and care about the design of their places, they are empowered to make a change. As a result, Sharpsburg has a high design and planning literacy, and in their multiple iterations of planning, they were able to uplift the great parts of Sharpsburg instead of fixing parts that others see as broken but maybe aren't. Congratulations, Mayor Reno. The Allied Trades Award, renamed in honor of Raymond J. Sinagra's dedication to the architecture, engineering, and construction community, is presented for contributions to the built environment by an allied professional, firm, or organization who works with architects to uphold the tenets of design, sustainability, and collaboration. In 2020, Neighborhood Allies embarked on a journey to advance placekeeping and community-driven real estate in the Pittsburgh region through an equity-centered community development lens, a process that is people-centered and encourages designers to co-create with the community by empowering those who have historically been left behind. Neighborhood Allies collaborates with local architects, landscape architects, and urban planners committed to the principles of design equity and justice through their equity-centered designer network. These partnerships allow them to act as a bridge between the communities they serve and design firms, empowering community leadership and prioritizing community-driven design and development while ensuring accessible design for all. Congratulations, Neighborhood Allies. The AIA Pennsylvania Emerging Professionals Committee, also known as EPIC, chaired by Parva Markiw, put forth this year's Emerging Professional Award and Associate Award recipients to the AIA Pennsylvania Board for final approval. The Emerging Professional Award recognizes the exceptional achievements and future promise of a recently licensed architect who has demonstrated design excellence, leadership in practice, leadership in education, or service to the profession or society. Anastasia Markiw is a project manager and architect at Design Group in Pittsburgh. With a primary focus on healthcare architecture, she strives to design spaces that provide inspiration to work, live, learn, and heal. Anastasia's AIA leadership began as a member of AIA Pittsburgh Young Architect Forum, serving as a 2020 chair. She was then selected as the AIA National Young Architect Representative for Pennsylvania and led several initiatives with AIA PA and EPIC. Currently, Anastasia is the AIA National Young Architect Forum Advocacy Director, leading a work group responsible for advocacy content and webinars. Anastasia continues to promote the architecture profession through educating aspiring students and speaking at Young Women's Recognition Night at schools in the community. Congratulations, Anastasia. The Associate Award recognizes an AIA Pennsylvania associate member who has demonstrated outstanding leadership, creativity, and significant contributions to their communities, the architecture profession, or the AIA. Benita Nartey is an emerging architectural and interior designer at GBBN. In her design and community work, Benita strives to ask the right questions and bring stakeholders to the table to best serve both clients and communities. Through her Afrocentric design sensibilities, she promotes her culture and fosters connection. Her work with the Pittsburgh chapter of the National Organization of Minority Architects, or NOMA for short, began at Carnegie Mellon University. She observed the lack of accessibility to the profession in underrepresented communities in the city and on campus. She now works with NOMA to increase the visibility of the architecture profession among middle and high school students with the outreach and educational initiatives. Congratulations, Benita. Stay tuned for the reveal of the remaining 2 special awards, the 50-Year Timeless Architecture Award and the Firm Award.
The AIA Pennsylvania Architectural Excellence Student Awards recognize an architecture student from the 7 Pennsylvania schools currently offering an accredited architecture program, as determined by the National Architectural Accrediting Board. The Student Awards are brought to you by a sponsor, Behr. Behr is dedicated to meeting the coding and color needs of architects and designers with a commitment to quality, innovation, and value. The following graduating students are selected by their school's faculty for proficiency in both academics and design, as well as readiness to meet the challenges and responsibilities of a career in architecture. From Carnegie Mellon University, Rachel Ruscigno. Drexel University student, Rachel Sasson. From Marywood University, Rye Ahronson. From Penn State University, John Martin. Thomas Jefferson University student, Auriel Lewis. Recent Temple University graduate, Emely Fernandez. University of Pennsylvania student, Jenna Arndt. Congratulations to this year's class of AIA Pennsylvania Student Award recipients. The EPIC firm recognition facilitated by the AIA Pennsylvania Emerging Professionals Committee, or EPIC, recognizes firms for their commitment to the professional development of emerging professionals and young architects, with an assessment of firm culture and support in 4 critical areas: licensure, leadership and professional development, career advancement opportunity, and commitment to equity, diversity, and inclusion. The EPIC firm recognition is brought to you by emerging professional sponsor Sheetz, one of Pennsylvania's homegrown convenience store chains, offering a superior made-to-order menu, design, and experience. We celebrate the following 24 firms with offices across Pennsylvania, with many in Sheetz territory, for fostering a better present and future for the profession. Atkin, Olshan, Shade Architects. Ballinger. BLT Architects. BRR Architecture. Crabtree, Rohrbaugh and Associates. Design Group. Desmone. Digsaw. Evolve Environment Architecture. Fancy Parsley Architecture and Design. 15 Architecture and Design. HOK. Ian Smith Design Group. IKM Architecture. KCBA Architects. Lenhart Rogers Architecture and Interiors. LGA Partners. Murphy and Dittenhafer Architects. Phillips and Donovan Architects. Revision Architecture. RLPS Architects. Rothschild-Doino Collaborative, Shader Group Architecture, WTW Architects,
The 50-year Timeless Architecture Award recognizes a building that has endured the test of time and still resonates with the design community and the public. AIA Pennsylvania extends gratitude to Committee on Design members Bob Kelly and Frank Grauman for their dedication to bringing the Timeless Architecture Award recipient's story to the small screen.
Before 1440, when Gutenberg changed the world, hand-copied texts were the most highly valued treasures of monarchies and monasteries. Whether for kings or commoners, large libraries were grandiose treasure boxes, temples exalting the world's knowledge. The richest were proudly displayed in reading rooms whose walls were piled high with shelving, reachable by ladders and balconies. Accessing books required Super Mario-like acrobatics. By 1850, steam presses raised hourly production from 400 pages to 12,000 and more. Now, ordinary people could own much more than just a family Bible, and for libraries, the possibilities were limitless. That brings us to 1891 and the University of Pennsylvania's Fisher Fine Arts Library, often nicknamed for its maverick architect, Frank Furness. Steam, iron, and coal were the very stuff of 19th century Philadelphia and its powerful financial, philanthropic, social, and educational elites. For Furness, their gilded machine-age dynamism opened the door to pursue a uniquely Philadelphia iconography, celebrated by red brick, iron, and abandoned architectural norms. But for Penn's library, Furness's industrial strength imagery is secondary to his functional achievements. When he was commissioned in 1887, Penn's library was embedded with the university's only other building, College Hall, and was bursting with books run amok. What was needed was a veritable machine for reading. That is precisely what Frank Furness's masterpiece gave them, and to the world, he gave an epical invention. Furness owns a debt to Henri Labrouste, the mid-19th century French architect. Labrouste broke new ground, reimagining bookshelves as multi-tiered industrial storage systems that contrasted starkly with traditionally ornate reading rooms. Furness took Labrouste's thinking to another level. He pioneered the idea of completely separating book storage from all other functions. An infinitely expandable matrix of glass and iron book stacks promised limitless collection growth. But the idea was about much more than just future-proofing. Isolating book space allowed him to optimize people space, vastly enhancing users' experience. With books set aside, patron services became a diagram of accessibility, efficiency, and comfort. An oversized lobby isolated the staircase and offered a conversation room for those seeking relief from the library's enforced silence. The foyer leads into the main hall, housing all patron services, circulation, cataloging, and access to books. The second reading room, for researchers wanting greater concentration, takes the form of a cathedral's apse surrounded with chapel-like study alcoves. This arrangement seems like simplicity itself, but it had never been done before. 19th century buildings require natural light and ventilation as technical necessities. Furness's soaring reading rooms are bathed in their clerestory's light and air. But to illuminate the stacks, Furness chose high technology. The book wing is enclosed in glass, with light filtering to lower levels through glass-floored walkways, as if a Victorian forebearer of today's Apple stores. Frank Furness set an enduring standard for destination libraries. In 1911, Hastings and Carrere opened the bookstack-driven New York Public Library. Next came Harvard's Widener Library, named for an ultra-wealthy Philadelphian and designed by Philadelphia's noted African-American architect, Julian Abel. Other distinguished examples include Cram & Ferguson's 1920s Stetson Library at Williams College, Yale's 1961 Beinecke Library by Gordon Bunshaft, and Mexico City's spectacular Biblioteca Vasconcelos by Alberto Calach in 2006. Back to the Philadelphia of steam, iron, and coal. Frank Furness was as much a machine-age architect as were Walter Gropius and Le Corbusier. Unlike such manifesto-minded modernists, Furness's inventiveness was aimed specifically at his hometown. As a Philadelphian, he could pursue rebellious ideas thanks to his railroad baron clients sharing the belief that things would never be the same. They were eager to celebrate epochal technology in architectural form, giving Furness license to forget about ancient Greece. The Furness phenomenon was not unique. European architects also proposed refreshingly new styles, befitting their own times and places. Think of Gaudi, Guimard, Horta, Mackintosh, and Otto Wagner. Their humane regionalist styles thrived until the Depression and World War II. Post-war, the ornament-shunning international style replaced this rich diversity, and Frank Furness would not have been amused. But architectural conservatism caught up with Furness. He was way too far out for America's early 20th century ruling classes and their conservative Eurocentric pretensions. McKim, Mead, and White's exquisite neoclassicism became their comfort food. With it, Philadelphia's flirtation with the unconventional faded. Furness's maverick muscularity gave way to the old-world elegance of Julian Abel and Paul Kray. For the University of Pennsylvania, the Furness Library was a one-time fling. Moving forward, they worked with firms like Cope and Stewartson, neoclassicists whose work still dominates the campus. Furness's library became an outlier, the relic of a once-and-only adventure in unabashedly radical design. It became the ugly duckling, an object of shame. In fact, it is only thanks to the 1929 financial crash that it escaped being reclothed in proper academic Gothic. Further insult came in 1931 with the construction of the During Wing, blocking further expansion of Furness's stacks with a 6-story brick box, ironically designed by Furness's successor, Allen Evans. But the people space book space model remained a library diagram of choice until the 1950s, when the concept was eclipsed by new technologies. Fluorescent light and air conditioning allowed building footprints of unlimited size, with space efficiently packed under dreary, low, flat ceilings. This was true for factories, offices, supermarkets, and libraries, not to mention schools of architecture. Supermarket libraries could be stacked high with no reference to scale, and purported to solve the age-old problem of library obsolescence. Newfangled lighting and ventilation allowed infinitely flexible universal space. Now, anything could go anywhere. In 1960, keeping up with the times, Penn's Van Pelt Dietrich Library replaced the Furness Building. This was undoubtedly necessitated by the collection's exponential growth. With its later edition, Van Pelt tops out at 6 million volumes, way beyond Furness's so-called infinitely expandable glass and iron stacks. Furness's library has been called a collision between a cathedral and a train station. Those lucky enough to have studied in this burly setting remember the bong of the industrial age steam pipes, the implied warmth of the hearth, and the intimacy of the glass-floored stacks which connect you with others studying around you. As a fine arts library, it became a temple of architecture, resonant with the ghostly voices of important architects, Kahn, Jurgala, Venturi, and so many others. librarians spend their lives bringing organizational clarity to the chaotic universe of everything that has ever been known, thought, or written. What could be more glorious, more worthy of architectural celebration? Architects are like librarians, striving to bring order, clarity, and also pleasure to humankind's myriad institutions. For designers everywhere, Frank Furness's library is a beacon, reminding us of that foundational ideal. It is once again a beacon that shines brightly. And where is there another such utterly emotive building? AIA Pennsylvania consecrates this 2023 50-year Timeless Building Award to that question.
The Architectural Excellence COTE Awards, presented by the Committee on the Environment, celebrates the highest standards of design excellence, incorporating community connection, equity, economic value, resilience, and stewardship of the natural environment. The COTE Awards is brought to you by sponsor Yale Electric Supply, a full-service commercial lighting company delivering energy-efficient and creative lighting solutions. AIA Pennsylvania recognizes Sherman Ahronson, Jonathan Weiss, and Brian Smiley for their continued dedication to the evolution of the Framework for Design Excellence Assessment, which serves as the program's evaluation criteria. The 2023 COTE Awards jury included a panel of Wisconsin-based architects and industry professionals. Kimberly Redden, Dan Kochman, and Emely Neal reviewed the 31 eligible submissions through the lens of the AIA Framework for Design Excellence measures, indicating how buildings perform for the health and wellness of the occupants, communities, and the environments they serve. The jury selected 6 projects for 3 tiers of honor. In ascending order of honor tier, they are the COTE Citation, COTE Award, and COTE Award of Excellence. 2 projects are recognized with a COTE Citation, an honorable mention for achievement or goals aligning with one or more of the framework measures. Ewing Cole receives a COTE Citation for the Concord Middle School. The project seeks to revolutionize the learning experience, embracing sustainability and a deep connection to nature. The school's layout fosters collaboration and project-based learning, featuring flexible spaces and informal learning areas for innovation and cross-disciplinary connections. Jurors recognize the design for its potential to meet net zero goals through careful building systems design and on-site renewable use. Congratulations, Ewing Cole and partner SMMA. Bolin Sywinski Jackson is the recipient of a COTE Citation for the Peter P. Mercer Learning Commons at Ramapo College of New Jersey. The design combines an array of resources for campus-wide use, including state-of-the-art classrooms, media rooms, on-site technology resources, and more. Replacing the original library, the project establishes a vibrant and light-filled new learning environment for the campus community, increasing interior space from 60,000 to 80,000 square feet while clarifying wayfinding. The jury commended the extensive reuse of the existing building's foundation, superstructure, and exterior cladding, as those elements tend to be the most embodied carbon and labor-intensive, as well as difficult to preserve with new programming. Congratulations, Bolin Sywinski Jackson. The following 3 projects selected for a COTE Award are recognized for commendable achievement or goals aligning with one or more framework measures. Bolin Sywinski Jackson receives a COTE Award for the Gutman College House at the University of Pennsylvania. The 250,000 square foot project provides housing as well as a range of indoor and outdoor public, semi-private, and secure spaces with amenities to help students embrace life on campus and within the city. Jurors cited dedication to the principle of design for ecosystems as impressive for an urban project, particularly the green roof area and sensitive treatment of the site landscaping. This project captures not only a significant amount of runoff, but also illustrates a holistic design that creates opportunities for community, individuality, and campus pride. Congratulations, Bolin Sywinski-Jackson. The Sheward Partnership is the recipient of a COTE Award for Philadelphia office headquarters, a new office space showcasing the highest levels of sustainable architectural design with an emphasis on wellness. The project achieved LEED version 4 for Commercial Interiors Platinum certification and anticipates WELL version 2 Platinum certification and Living Building Challenge Pedal certification. Jurors appreciated the extensive efforts put into material analysis, as well as energy and circadian lighting, illustrating how aggressive goals and standards can produce spaces that are designed for the whole person. Congratulations, Sheward Partnership. Ballinger receives a COTE Award for Singer Hall at Swarthmore College. Swarthmore College's interdisciplinary 159,000 square foot Singer Hall is set within an arboretum campus setting that enriches the campus community, engages its surroundings, and establishes a sense of place in context of environmental stewardship. The jury commended Singer Hall for excelling in design for energy through the thorough investigation of building and site design strategies, as well as focused efforts to reduce energy loads and water use with right-sized programming. Congratulations, Ballinger. The COTE Award of Excellence recognizes a project that demonstrates excellence across several measures of the framework. Revision Architecture is the recipient of the COTE Award of Excellence for Fahey Commons at Muhlenberg College. In addition to receiving LEED Platinum certification, the multi-purpose 20,000 square foot building is the first Living Building Challenge Core Ready project in the world and is on track to receive Passive House certification. Beyond its sustainability certifications, Fahey Commons actively engages its community and has become a model for future campus buildings. Jurors cited Fahey Commons as an embodiment of the AIA framework for design excellence because the team excelled at principle of design for integration. By ensuring the goals and spirit of the client and community were met by the design and operations of the building, all elements came together for a cohesive whole. Congratulations, Revision Architecture.
The Architectural Excellence Design Awards celebrate the exemplary design achievements of AIA Pennsylvania members and the impact of architecture. As a member of the Committee on Design, I had the privilege of recruiting 2023's Design Awards jury chair, Sebastian Schmalling, founder partner of Johnson Schmalling Architects, and acting as the on-site facilitator during the jury deliberations, with essential remote support from Olivia Perry at AIA Pennsylvania. Sebastian enlisted two fellow Milwaukee-based architects to join him in serving on the jury. Alan Washotko, co-founder of Kubala Washotko Architects, and Mo Zell, interim dean at the University of Wisconsin-Milwaukee School of Architecture and Urban Planning, and principal of Bowen Studio.
I think great architecture is when a building achieves things on multiple levels, that it functions well, it works within its context, and it sort of lifts up the spirit in best case, you know, that it actually moves you in a way that a bad building wouldn't.
Great architecture responds to client needs, but also thinks about the public space, the public entity around it, and really responds to and contributes to a kind of betterment of public space.
The word wholeness comes to mind. And the idea of wholeness, and this is what we've built the studio around, is the idea that enclosure, shelter, structure, and human activity have to come together in a way that one reinforces the other completely.
There's a baseline that any building has to achieve, which is that it works for the client and probably gets built within a reasonable budget. But beyond that, a project becomes award worthy if it also does something else, that it sort of achieves something aesthetically, that it's innovative in the sense that it works differently than other buildings, that it suggests a new way of doing things.
I think there's a lot of high quality work going on in Pennsylvania. There were a range of projects, scale, material investigations, the commitment to sustainability and kind of environmental practices.
You know, we had to narrow down to get to the point where we had to be. So that's a good sign. And I thought the work that was more socially focused, I think there were some really interesting projects.
It's difficult when you have to sift through so many projects that are probably worthy some recognition, and you have to sort of pick the ones that, you know, stand out even more.
I think design awards are really about elevating good work and thinking about ways in which we can showcase excellence to a broader community. I think it's both for our own community of practitioners, but also for lay audiences to think about and understand the things that we value and see, and hopefully getting more attention to these particular projects.
110 eligible projects were submitted to this year's Design Awards program. The jurors selected 18 projects from a pool of 39 finalists for recognition in one of 3 tiers of honor. In ascending order, the tiers of recognition are Merit Award, Honor Award, and Silver Medal. The Design Awards jury selected 9 projects for recognition with the Merit Award. A Merit Award is granted to recognize projects that bear exemplary achievement in a specific aspect of their design. Umbra Architects is the recipient of a Merit Award for EV Charging Hub, envisioned to provide new infrastructure and amenities along our national highways, making EV range anxiety a thing of the past. The jury found this project an intriguing attempt at inventing a new building type for an unprecedented program with architectural ambition rivaling that of mid-century gas stations, citing the folding solar roof plane's immediate iconographic presence. Congratulations, Umbra Architects. Boland Sowinski Jackson receives a Merit Award for Gutman College House at the University of Pennsylvania, also honored with Architectural Excellence COTE Award. The jury celebrated the design for its gradient of light-filled indoor and outdoor spaces that support and enhance student life, carefully detailed interiors, and a beautiful building skin of terracotta tile, offering an interesting take on the ubiquitous brick of other campus residential buildings. Congratulations, Boland Sowinski Jackson. Ian Smith Design Group receives a Merit Award for Harrogate Revival, a mixed-use modern residential building near the Tioga commuter train station in Philadelphia. In conjunction with the neighboring adaptive reuse building on the same block, this project has brought renewed life to the community. The jury appreciated the use of a glassy cubic building form to maximize the light, air, and view for each residential unit that simultaneously holds its own in relationship to the neighboring structures. Jurors also celebrated the connecting outdoor space, the use of bold color, and a wall mural that speaks to the culture of the community. Congratulations, Ian Smith Design Group. Boland Sowinski Jackson is the recipient of a Merit Award for the Heartwood Annex, a standalone classroom for 8th grade students at the Waldorf School of Pittsburgh. Inspired by the school's unique approach to education, appreciation for the natural world, and desire to provide a flexible, healthy, and high-performing environment. Jurors characterized the annex as a handsome jewel of a building, a carefully positioned folly in a park that defines the adjacent outdoor spaces and takes advantage of views. They applauded the simple but sculptural form for carefully modulating daylight and allowing students to utilize the open interior space in a number of different ways. Congratulations, Boland Sowinski Jackson. Kieran Timberlake receives a Merit Award for John A. Paulson Center, a multi-use LEED Gold university facility embodying the vibrancy of New York University and designed to optimize interactions between diverse student groups and academic disciplines. The jury found the Paulson Center a masterfully resolved prototype for a hybrid building that essentially functions as a small city, weaving together all parts into one cohesive structure that through artful volumetric manipulation defies its own scale and becomes a respectful addition to its urban context. Congratulations, Kieran Timberlake and partner Davis Brody Bond. Ballinger is the recipient of a Merit Award for New Chemistry Learning and Discovery Facility, a new 170,000 square foot chemistry building on the University of Wisconsin-Madison campus. The 9-story addition modernizes instruction and research while establishing a social hub and new chemistry department identity. Jurors were impressed with the capacity of this large-scale urban project to revive its street corner. They appreciated the handsome terracotta rain screen facade, while the interiors were lauded as unusually inviting for a university STEM building. Use of bright colors was deemed both audacious and successful. Congratulations, Ballinger and Partners, Strang and Aero Eberly Architects. Rothschild Doino Collaborative receives a Merit Award for Second Harvest Community Thrift Store, a revitalized retail space for the resale of gently used goods designed to adapt to meet its community's needs. The jury applauded the transformation of an obsolete building with windowless interior into a vibrant, inviting community anchor with a light-filled interior space, deeming it a successful architectural and urban design intervention. Congratulations, Rothschild Doino Collaborative. ISA is the recipient of a Merit Award for Signal House, a missing middle prototype addressing the shortage of attainable urban housing. The single-stair, walk-up infill building fits 3 units on a lot that would typically be slated for a single-family row home. An interlocking organization incorporates mezzanine levels and bi-level unit layouts as a way to add livable area, light, and views on an otherwise landlocked parcel. The jury commended the slender, carefully composed building for its addition to the urban fabric, citing the building section for its surprising complexity, incorporating a variety of interesting spatial moments within each of the dwelling units. Other standouts were the simplicity of the material palette and the skillful use of color. Congratulations, ISA. Kieran Timberlake receives a Merit Award for the Tidelands at the University of California, San Francisco. The Tidelands provides micro-apartments for over 700 medical students and trainees in San Francisco's Dogpatch neighborhood. Responding to the urgent need for affordable housing, the project draws on its former industrial urban context to create a hospitable, sustainable, and resilient home for fixed-income emerging medical professionals. Jurors recognized the project for its ambitious level of design for below-market-rate housing, including innovative interlocking concrete facade panels that create a beautiful play of light and shadow, as well as use of exterior bridges to frame views from the street into the communal space in the center of the block. Congratulations, Kieran Timberlake and partner Perkins & Will. The Design Awards jurors selected 5 projects for recognition with an honor award, granted to projects that exemplify distinguished achievement. Ewing Cole is the recipient of an honor award for Burke Bergman Boathouse. The rehabilitation of the University of Pennsylvania Boathouse preserves a cherished historic landmark while increasing functionality, balancing amenities for men's and women's rowing, and creating both accessibility and a climate-resilient facility.
What we liked about the boathouse renovation was really that it was a true reinvention of a building that had sort of fallen into disrepair, and just the small addition that the architect inserted into the building allowed it to be opened up, the interior space of starting to flow and be more functional.
The material addition, the wood ceiling, the light quality that comes into that space now to really offset the dark wood of the interior space is quite wonderful.
And it keeps it all within the family of the history of the multiple elevations that occur along that water ridge.
Congratulations, you and Cole. Digsaw receives an honor award for Class of 1986 Fitness and Wellness Center, an adaptive reuse and expansion project proposed to create a wellness hub that transforms the center of campus into an inclusive space for the Princeton University community.
As an unbuilt project, I think we really enjoyed how well thought out it was and how realistic it was, even though it really proposes a very sort of self-assured contemporary building that nevertheless is very respectful to the existing structures around it.
Well, especially considering the historic nature of the adjacent buildings, the fact that it's an addition, the mass of the roof and ceiling system that then complements or sort of caps the transparent glazing system below is actually quite nice, along with the perforated metal system, the shading structure.
And it's especially successful at a scale, at the pedestrian scale, at the street edge, because of the highly articulated panels. And I think some of the verticality of some of the geometry you can see reflected in the original stone tower, which is the second building away. And I love the fact that it recalls some of that context in a very kind of poetic manner.
Congratulations, Digsaw and partner MJMA. GBBN is the recipient of an honor award for Penn State Barron Federal House Renovation and Addition. Harbor Creek Township's oldest brick structure, the Federal House, has been a family home, stagecoach stop, and Underground Railroad safe house. Now home to a youth outreach program, it provides instructional, office, and event space while activating a neglected corner of campus.
So the Federal House addition was quite a wonderful complementary contemporary structure to a historic building, and repositioning the entry sequence into this project allowed for the building forms and the roof forms allowed for a kind of wonderful site strategy to both make place and connection between existing and new structures.
In the sort of vernacular form, but one that is transformed into some more contemporary architecture, really seemed fitting for the rural context in which it's placed.
So many times when you add to an existing or historical building, the presence of that building sometimes gets lost or muddled. And in this case, it was kept as pure and as pristine as possible from that elevation. And then the building was allowed to change as it turned the corner and went up the hill. Very successful.
The quality of natural light in the building also was quite wonderful, and I think helped situate the difference between the historic building and the new structure.
Congratulations, GBBN. CBP Architects receives an honor award for St. Rita Place and Cascia Center, a new 5-story mixed-use building which serves both the adjacent St. Rita of Cascia Church and Shrine and the neighborhood beyond by providing both affordable housing for seniors as well as a center for peace and reconciliation.
This project would be a good project if it was just housing, but it is affordable housing for seniors and is really stunning in the quality of space and materiality and simplicity of the form. And in addition to being a good building by itself, it starts a dialogue with this church nearby and creates a civic plaza that seems to be quite successful in sort of framing a new public realm.
There's also a kind of wonderful articulation of the skin and a playfulness with small details that add quite a little animation to the exterior facade.
It's not often that you find projects that are supporting lower income housing that have this kind of level of quality. It's to be commended.
Congratulations, CBP Architects, formerly Cecil Baker and Partners. Erdy McHenry Architecture is a recipient of an honor award for the Controlled Environment Agriculture Research Complex, a premier hub for interdisciplinary agricultural research, creating opportunities for teaching, events, tours, and outreach programs while increasing the visibility of Ohio State University's research.
Typically, projects like this are made up of buildings that are essentially kit of parts, metal building structure systems. Greenhouses are usually bought as components, but what we found here was that the way that the simple organization and the pristine nature of the shapes of the buildings really gave it a real elegant, simple elegance on the site. The metal building transforms itself at the front elevation by making it much more transparent, adding a very strong color to tell people where the entrance is and what this represents at the street facade.
I thought the site planning strategy was particularly helpful in terms of indicating the entry sequence, the landscaping out front, as well as the connection between the assembly space and the exterior was really wonderful to see in a kind of industrial building like this.
And I think just to add to Alan's comment, I think the project sort of exemplifies how small tweaks to a utilitarian structure can turn something like this into a real piece of architecture. And I think that really convinced us that it is noteworthy and it needs to be recognized with an award.
Congratulations, Erdy McHenry Architecture and partner MA Design. Now to the most prestigious tier of recognition granted to a project or projects annually by the Architectural Excellence Design Awards jury. The silver medal honors design that represents the highest level of achievement. This year, the jury selected 4 projects for silver medal honors. CTO Architecture and Urbanism receives a silver medal for 2500 League Island Boulevard, a state-of-the-art flex production building centrally located in the heart of the Philadelphia Navy Yard, providing a highly flexible work and production environment to cater to the expanding technology and cell therapy industry.
So what we really appreciated about League Island Boulevard is that it's an industrial scale building of a type that usually doesn't get much attention from architects. And the amount of architectural care that the architect teased out of this industrial large-scale program and transformed a very large structure with a very nice and robust presence within that Navy Yard context. That architect was able to break down the scale and wrap that large mass of a building with a very intricate and beautifully detailed skin was very commendable.
I think the transformation from the patterning of the glass to the rest of the building really ties the whole piece together. And the landscape and siting strategy of the entry piece in particular was actually quite nice and supports that scale shift.
And I just thought about arriving on this site and finding this jewel of a building put in the middle of this context as a really incredible and delightful event.
Congratulations, CTO Architecture and Urbanism. Bolin Swinski Jackson is the recipient of a silver medal for the Light Path Residence, a second-act family residence built on 19th century farmland in northeastern Pennsylvania, embracing nature, well-being, and healthy living while incorporating cherished elements of the client's former residence.
I think it's fair to say that the Light Path House was an easy one for us to award with a silver award. It was just a beautiful project on almost all levels. A very clean plan for a couple that can age safely and long-term in this house. It's an incredible play of light and shadows and opening up the house to the outside. It was just successful on all levels.
The central spine of light really helped organize the both the programming spaces and allowed a lot of quality light into it, bouncing off of the wood interior.
And the level of craft and finish is incredible. I think the light spine also, it may be a device to help with orientation for the aging. Yeah, it's really, really beautifully done.
You know, there's this whole scheme of natural ventilation that drives the intersection in a pretty convincing way. I mean, in addition to bringing the light through that spine skylight, right, it also opens up and vents it. Yeah.
Well, the community or family space at the end really is like a pavilion in the garden with 3 sides of glazing all around, and really sort of nests in that site.
And anchored by this beautiful fireplace.
Congratulations, Bolin Swinski Jackson. Ballinger is a recipient of a silver medal for Singer Hall, Swarthmore College, also honored with a COTE Award.
What we liked about Singer Hall was the site planning strategy, how it really complemented the existing buildings on campus, and the skin, I think the simplicity of the skin wrapper that really blended without copying the kind of existing conditions on the site. There was also a number of kind of playful components within the planning strategy of the interior spaces.
And I especially like the fact that the planning, the floor plan and the floor plan development wasn't bound to a rectangle, but the building was allowed to let the geometry adjust slightly to the site, which really makes a huge difference to how things are shaped outside of the building, and gives to me a much more organic kind of quality to it that feels more natural and not so imposing.
And I think in addition, we really like the interior spaces, the simplicity of them, the way that the glazing connects inside to outside, the very tasteful furnishings, and material palettes that were just very restrained but rich. Very different from a lot of other institutional interiors we saw today.
Congratulations, Ballinger. Digsaw receives a silver medal for the Clay Studio. Located in the South Kensington neighborhood of Philadelphia, the new Clay Studio structure draws inspiration from the context of industrial architecture while expressing the process of creating ceramic art that occurs within its walls. The volumetric facade connects the building to the city's tradition of masonry craft.
It's a very simple form, but articulated extremely well. The brick facade is stunning. It's stunning visually, but also knowing how hard it is to actually get something like this built. We really enjoyed that rooftop garden that's sort of void within the perimeter walls of the building. And overall, just a great building that really, I think the exterior really sort of speaks about what's going on the inside. It's a great advertising tool for the program inside.
Well, it's certainly an industrial building in a sense of the studio spaces for artists that complements existing structures in that community, but also innovates around that, around the detailing of the brick, the window forms themselves, and then on the interior space, the kind of rich material that complements the program that's inside.
And it's really expressive of the fact that it is an artisan center and a making of art, a place for artists. It expresses that, I think, in all aspects of the facade, the intrigue of the brickwork, the use of their own handmade tiles within the building as finishes.
Congratulations, Digsaw.
Every year, the AIA Pennsylvania Architecture Firm Award recognizes one firm that has produced notable architecture for at least a decade. Excellence in design, as well as the breadth or depth of portfolio, a healthy firm culture, influence on the practice of architecture, Exemplary outcomes for clients and/or society are recognized attributes of firm award recipients.
I think if I were to look back at our trajectory from where we started in a very humble way, starting the practice straight out of grad school and really working almost obsessively towards defining our own path that didn't involve outside forces other than those who supported us. And to where we are today is validation that sometimes taking a risk pays off.
It goes back to that bit of being naive. Because we started so young, we were in our early 20s, we didn't know what we didn't know. We didn't know what we were getting into. We didn't know the costs to build a firm. We didn't know that it was probably the most difficult thing that we would have in front of us. Because we were essentially an outsider to this, we really didn't even think about those things in any other way than that they were possible.
We are eternal optimists, and our ethos is simply defined as remaining curious. We ask very consistently, but very strategically, 2 questions to drive the process forward, which is why and why not? And while they are very simple questions, they help us navigate complex issues to get to our clients' core intent, while also helping us identify barriers for design to overcome.
One of the things from a design standpoint that we are very good at is pushing the perceived limits of a material and the tectonics of a material, and that we like to push it beyond what it might be perceived that it can do. But we do that in a way that we compensate for that, and we compensate for it by our understandings of structure and materials.
There was a lot of play in the house. I mean, just playfulness because of light and the materials that were used that were sort of not orthodox. Just a lot of elements that were surprising, whimsical, also very functional. And as the sun would go over the house, it just took you with it. So it was very softly and very contemplatively dynamic, almost meditative.
I think that they realized that I was willing to take risk and do things that most developers would simply not do, and I realized that they had a skill set that was just looking for a place to blossom.
They kept bringing new and beautiful ideas to the process and wanting our reaction to that as we went along. Some of it started very conceptually, looking at shapes and textures, and then out of that more specific designs emerged. So sensing what was attractive and what resonated with us was really a wonderful part of the process.
We are working with Moto on FDR Park Fields and Pavilion project. It's really important for the work of the Conservancy to think about the long-term use, the long-term durability of capital projects. Having Moto on the team has been a real joy. They really do see the fun of design, but also appreciate the practical nature and need. The excitement that the built structures that we're working on will draw the public and provide a timeless space for the city of Philadelphia.
For Moto, good design is defined by a bold but shared vision, nurtured through meticulous detailing. How that is expressed as success for our clients has manifested differently each time, but one way remains absolutely clear and fundamental to what we believe to be a success in architecture. And that is when a client sees themselves or their values represented in the work, whether pragmatically or philosophically, that is when we have delivered on our promise.
This alternate approach had merit, and that what we were doing had value. what it means now 20 years later, winning Firm of the Year. This path was worth it, and people are recognizing the effort that we've put in over the years. And I think what's exciting is that we have so many years ahead of us, and who knows what we're going to do with those next 20 years.
Congratulations, Moto Design Shop.
Thank you for joining us for this celebration of architectural excellence, and congratulations to all the 2023 recipients. Another round of thank yous to the members who participated, Committee on Design, program jurors, nominating task forces, and our generous sponsors and partners. We look forward to your participation in 2024.